All right.
We are broadcasting live from various parts of Southern California.
No,
What?
I'm closer to Central California.
Oh, shit. Okay.
Yeah, we got to start this whole thing over.
Spread out all over California.
I need about 15 minutes to prepare. So yeah.
we are the Pretentious Movie Snobs. I'm Dave Smith, the microscopically successful screenwriter and novelist, and we have Kimberly Blake Rove over there, and the Nappy Wanderer, soon to be wandering to Paris again, doing shows from Paris. We like to send her once a year to Paris to do shows.
Can you pay for it too this time around?
Something was dropped out there. Something was going on.
I heard what she said, but it was so offensive, I'm not going to repeat it.
And Kent R. Conrad, not the Senator Kent Conrad, of explodedgoat.com.
That is me.
And contributor to Cinema Centuries.
When I can.
And contributes a lot of empty beer bottles to his trash can, and contributes.
Hey, those go in the recycling.
Good, and we can see Kent's face today. I noticed because he doesn't have the mic screen in front of him.
No, yeah, I've moved it over here because we got a lot of complaints about how so sexy Kent Conrad. Nobody's seeing him.
We got so many fucking complaints. We got.
Which viewer or listener was that? How many do we have that can comment?
I'm pretty sure it was one of my personalities. And one of the dudes, too. I got to have a talk with those guys. This is getting a little... They joke around about the whole butt grabs. It
was the guy from Deliverance, because, I mean, I just got a voicemail. He said, "Boy, that boy's got a pretty mouth." And he couldn't see it. So he was...
I was voted in high school most likely to be Ned Beatty.
Oh, shit.
Wow. I still haven't watched that movie. I'm very afraid to watch it, to be honest.
It's great. It's great. By the way, we are the Pretentious Movie Snobs. I said that already, but highbrow, low energy. The podcast with virtually no show prep, and Kimberly wasn't cranky until we had trouble getting Kent on the line. And then it's all fine now.
Well, I'm a very busy guy. I've got commitments left and right. I was actually right now supposed to be sitting on the far side of my couch. I had that penciled in, but I scooted that to later this evening.
Cool.
Wow.
It's going to totally
secretary to keep that schedule organized.
I need like 3 of them. It's just amazing, and this is gonna throw off my whole couch rotation.
Speaking of schedules, I like to thank people. Luckily, the podcast gets squirted into your iPhone or other device because we have such a haphazard and slipshod schedule. That
so we're getting better.
We are getting better. We've had a couple of on-time shows, sort of. So, anyway, we are going to be talking in a few moments about Antiviral, directed by B. Cronenberg. I can't remember his name. Brandon Cronenberg, the son of David Cronenberg.
Yeah.
And we'll get to that in a minute. I just had one celebrity death that I wanted to mention. It wasn't really a celebrity death, but it was a person who passed on that made a big impression on me as Little Dave back in 1980. A movie called Raiders of the Lost Ark. You guys know who I'm going to bring up here?
I saw you tweet about it earlier, but I'm going to let you do the reveal.
Stuntman Terry Richards, who's did a lot of stunts on the movie, but is absolutely fantastically known for being the dark, sinister swordsman who steps in front of Indiana Jones. Everybody clears out, and he does his sword stuff, and Indy just pulls his gun and shoots him, and then just turns around looking for the next thing to do. It was such a great moment, and I remember as a kid, I was just so hilarious. I just laughed every time I saw it. I must have seen that movie 15 times in the theater, and every time I was like, oh yeah, I love that scene. But Terry Richards has gone to meet his maker.
Well, that's too bad. That's well, unless he was really sick, and then I guess that's okay. But no, it's an iconic moment, and I'm sure that Terry Richards was invisibly in many other things trying to help create the illusion that is film.
And that part came about too. People probably know this now, but they had a big fight choreographed. But Harrison Ford had the flu that day, stomach flu. So he said, "How about if I just fucking pull my gun and shoot him?" I don't know if he threw an F-bomb in there, but he said, "How if I just shoot him?" And they made sure it was funny instead of it works so funny. I mean, he's killing the guy in cold blood, but it's funny.
It's a good.
Not quite cold blood, warm blood. You know.
That's one of the things that gets kind of lost as the Indiana Jones movies progress, is that he hardly kills anyone in the later. And in fact, in Crystal Skull, there's only one person he might have killed. There is not the swath of corpses that this action hero usually lays, around wherever he goes, and I think that's part of the failure of the film.
And our friend Kent, who has probably, and I'm sure, never heard of us, James Lilacs has a rap about Raiders of the Lost Ark. He doesn't like. I don't think he's a big fan of the movie because he thinks that the movie the third act, it plays out exactly as it would have if Indiana Jones wasn't there, because the Ark does all the work. But I kind of disagree with that because of what Indiana Jones brings to it is he knows not to look at it. Nobody else knows that. Mm-hmm. So it would have killed everybody, including Indiana Jones, and it would have gone on to probably kill anybody else who touched the damn thing. But Indiana Jones survives to tell people, "Don't look at it." So
that could be.
I like how you're looking into the camera more, Dave. It's very appealing.
You want me to look more into the camera?
It looks very sincere with the baby goes. Look at that look. There you go. There you go.
My baby hazel eyes.
I'm scooting up the camera now so you can see more of me.
Yeah, I try to look at the camera because I notice when you watch it on it's like a TV show. If if everyone's looking away, it's not as good. All right. So anybody else want to throw anything in there before we start talking about antiviral?
No.
No, I don't have anything. I don't have anything that I.
Movie is.
Now I'm starting to feel defiant because of Kimmy's, kind of digging heels. Hey, Dave, did you see anything this week that you want to talk about?
Stop it! Stop it!
We're trying to do a show here, Kimmy.
I believe actually the only thing I did watch in its entirety was Antiviral. Yeah.
Me too.
This could be the shortest show ever because we're only like 7 minutes in. So
yeah.
Depending on what we have to say. Well, Kent chose this movie, so let's let Kent start off maybe and tell us.
Synopsizer.
Yeah, so we're rolling right into this. This Antiviral is directed by Brandon Cronenberg, who seems to, for his first feature film, he's the son of David Cronenberg, decided to make his own David Cronenberg movie.
Exactly.
Social, you can't quite call it a satire because it has absolutely no sense of humor about itself. It is a social commentary on the sort of celebrity culture that's been built up in these eras of our Perez Hiltons and our famous 12s and our TMZs. And the notion in this movie is that the obsession with celebrity has gotten so extreme that people actually pay to get illnesses that celebrities have got. That's where our main character, it's hard to call him a protagonist because there's not a lot of tagging he pros he tags, is one of the infectors at this place, where they have these viruses for these particular celebrities. Their big one is Hannah Geist.
That they get from the celebrities directly. It's not just like Game Cold. They get it from the celebrity.
Yeah, so it's like they've got her cold sores that they give to people. Hannah Geist is the main sort of celebrity they're talking about. And what's interesting, one of the interesting aspects of the movie is the celebrities aren't apparently famous for anything other than being celebrities. There's no hint that they actually do anything except for get sick. Mm-hmm. So the story's about this fellow who is
very realistic, actually.
Yeah, he's
although Kim Kardashian did work a lot for her fame. I mean, I would not suck that. I would not suck that cock. It was a little too big for me.
Job, but somebody's got to
do it.
Go ahead.
Our protagonist is also selling viruses on the sly. You see, these viruses are all copy protected via a scheme that is hastily explained, but involves creepy-looking pictures. And so he's trying to do this on the sly, and and when he tries to kind of get ahead of the curve and get a virus before it is commercially released, it turns out to be fatal, and he's injected into his body to transport it. What's going to happen to him? What's the story going to be? I've seen the movie and I still don't know. Dave, what did you think about Antiviral?
I did not hate it. I really was just...
That's going on the poster.
Yeah. It's the little quotes at the bottom. I didn't hate it. Dave of Pretentious Movie Snobs. very well, obviously very intentionally off-putting, very, very, very Kubrickian in its tone. I mean, it was very Clockwork Orangey, right down to the lead character. Very much resembled
And
Alexander
McDowell's
Delarge.
in it.
Yeah, and I was thinking of that the entire time. He was a sort of a cross between Heath Ledger's Joker and Alexander Delarge from Clockwork Orange, and the movie was very Shining. The Shining. It was like it felt like The Shining a lot of times. A lot of these very static shots and this haunting music, and the characters. He's just brooding and staring, up. He's just very. He was a terrible person.
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I thought the ideas were interesting. I liked it. I like the gross out parts were good. I like the fact that they're growing this meat from the cells of the celebrities that people are buying to eat.
Yeah, that was one of the most horrible things I've seen in a movie, and that I liked that part. Yeah, that's one of the things that they have places that sell like sausage grown from their cells. So it's not legally cannibalism. So they're growing this meat, these steaks, and blah. And the meat looked so disgusting.
It looked like gray. It looked like just yucky. But I liked a lot of that stuff. But they do commit the cardinal sin in this movie of creating a character that I just did not give a shit about. I'm like, oh, is he gonna die? Is he gonna win? Is he lose? I don't give a fuck. I didn't like him. I didn't care what he was doing. He didn't seem he was sort of good at it, but he was not. If you're gonna start aping a Kubrick film like Clockwork Orange, which is a really complex movie. In terms of its protagonist, who is a shithead, evil scumbag, but you find yourself uncomfortably rooting for him and wanting to. You at least want to watch him. Like, you don't want him to die because you want to watch him. What's he gonna do next? This guy, I'm like, I didn't give a shit. Is he gonna explode? Is his intestines gonna explode now? Good, I don't care. Oh, he wins. He wins the movie. Great, I don't give a shit. So, from that standpoint, it was a little bit just like, okay, yada yada. And there's a somewhat confusing, ambiguous ending maybe, or just confusing ending. I don't know what we're supposed to take away from that. I think I have a couple of ideas. Are we going to talk about that since it's an older movie? The ending?
Well, it's just a couple years older, but we can roll into I think we can head to the spoiler lounge.
Okay,
after,
we'll go into spoiler
after
lounge.
A few more discussions of the impressions of it. But I see Kimberly just shaking her head. No, she's got her Jamaican no on. Oh no, movie you didn't. Was that racist enough right there? Is that racist?
Yeah, it could be more racist, but it's okay.
I'll work on it. So, Kimberly, you seem to tilt more towards the negative than Dave towards the neutral.
You know what? I'm going to be short and sweet. I didn't like it.
Why not?
That's very short.
Go ahead.
Okay.
No. Do I need to elaborate on this? I didn't like it. The protagonist, again, like you say, I can't relate to him. I don't want to say it's a bad actor. Maybe it's a.
How about those awful giant? How about those giant freckles on his shoulder and back?
Those were just off-putting.
He's just a horrific-looking person.
He's an odd-looking person. Even if he was maybe prettier to look at, maybe that would have, distracted me a little bit. Why is this guy the lead? I don't know. The story. I mean, I think the concept there could have been something there. I agree about this world and the fascination or the obsession with these celebrities that exactly do absolutely nothing. The story is a little weak. There are too many holes partway through. I don't care about the characters.
A little weak. I'm gonna jump on that soon.
Do you think, Kimberly, was there any character in there who you might go, oh, if a piano dropped on their head while they were walking down the sidewalk? I think maybe the landlady, his landlord, she was okay.
You know what it reminds me of? And it's a horrible thing to say because I am Canadian.
Well, so is Brandon Cronenberg.
Well, there you go. Well, that's exactly my point. When I moved here, before moving here, I did a lot of work more in like music, and I knew like people that would make music in Toronto, and there is a sound that was missing or empty or lacking. There's something that was so much richer in the music and more complex and just weave together so nicely with U.S. music that whenever I hear a Canadian production, I know it's Canadian because it's lacking.
It's something. A little bland, maybe.
bland, repetitive. It doesn't have the same textures as a U.S. song. And this is the exact same thing I feel with this movie. Not that I think he has a good eye. I mean, obviously he has some kind of creative ability, but to me it's like this light version, and it's more of a. And I know everything is imitation, but it's just a poor man's imitation. And I'm sure he'll create something that's much better in the future. I think he's done a couple of other movies, and maybe he has to just find his own voice and maybe just make a stronger story. Because in the end, I don't really know what happened. There was this, and then there was that one woman at the very end, I guess, who had orchestrated this whole virus thing, and it was just, I was like, what the hell is going on here? And then now all of a sudden he's working at this new job, and he licks the wound or whatever that was at the end. And I almost think he was trying to do something more for shock value, maybe because he is Cronenberg's son, as opposed to maybe doing something maybe that would be truer to him. It felt empty. That's it.
Okay, that's quite an opinion. I'm going to launch into how you both are totally wrong. This is one of the best movies of the last 10 years.
Oh, don't even.
Nah.
Don't even.
I didn't buy that for a second.
I'm going to start in with the stuff that I liked about it, which is going to be shorter than the stuff I didn't. It is really, I think, remarkably visually assured. There is almost no medium shot, close up, sort of regular, the sort of typical film language you'll get on most movies. It's a series of distinct images, I think, which generally plays in the movie's favor, and which helps keep it unsettling. And I think some of the world building ideas were pretty decent, if slightly half baked at times. And then there's the rest of it. First, I think it was a mistake to cast a guy who already looks like he's going to die as somebody who gets sick. He looked horribly sick throughout the movie, and his performance. I think he accomplished what he was setting out to do, but it was a bad idea because every line is hushed kind of like this, so you got to listen real close, but he's not really saying anything, and every single scene's like that, and there's not a real arc. In terms of story structure, the big problem with the movie is that our main character, our protagonist, gets his mission about an hour and 15 minutes in.
Yeah.
Until then, he seals the virus. He gets kind of sick, but that's not really part of the story because the movie doesn't end with spoilers. It doesn't necessarily end with the cure. That's not how it goes. It doesn't have a real sort of arc or momentum.
And they introduce the villain, who turns out to be the villain, really late. Just like you said, he gets his mission out. He didn't have to introduce the villain 5 minutes later, too. Really.
We're going to be talking spoilers about the end because I thought that the only thing that would have made sense is if it turned out that the head boss of his own company was the one who was actually behind it all. And that is so this guy, even though they established there might be a relationship towards him, except this character is so closed off, he doesn't connect to anyone ever.
No.
The main character has no dreams, has no ambitions, has no life beyond what he's doing at the moment.
And the boss isn't established at all.
Which makes the end make him a little more sense, possibly.
Yeah, except who cares?
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, who gives a damn?
Exactly.
So that was, I thought, a really big problem. And there were several other big problems. There was a whole thread about, and this I think was done like to seem kind of blasé and shocking about things in the future, where the other guys, the other infectors, they know that Miriam Geist. No, it's Hannah Geist.
Hannah Geist.
Has some sort of deformity somewhere in her body.
Yes.
And they all guess it is something's wrong with her or female plumbing in some way, but that never gets figured out. That never gets established. It's just kind of there. I liked some of the ads because the celebrity news was all really disgustingly intimate. And they had a news story about this one celebrity's anal problems. It's like you can see that. I can see Perez Hilton doing that though. So it has a decent eye, but first, I think that all the problems stem really down, and it's a disgusting movie too. This is unpleasant as all get out.
Yeah, how many needle strikes into someone's arm did we see in this one? At least
there were 7
16,
or 8
12?
Yeah. Oh, it was and after a couple of them, you say, okay, yeah, I know that gets most people to shiver, but it's yeah.
Mm-hmm. They say they're real too.
Oh yeah, I read that.
Yeah.
I would not, if I were a fellow actor, trust a guy who looked like that to stick anything anywhere near me.
No.
And
no. But even the director, Brandon, looks awkward himself. I mean, have you seen the pictures of him?
You Canadians are weird looking.
Oh, thanks.
No, by the way, Dave, you mentioned that the only character that you sort of maybe liked was the landlady.
Landlady,
and
yeah.
I was thinking what they should have gone all the way and just gotten the actress from The Apple to play the landlady. Should have just been Miriam Margolyes again, playing the exact same big Jewish stereotype.
Yeah. That would have breathed a little life into it. He could grab her tits from behind again, just in a playful.
That was ridiculous. We got to do that movie.
Alfie,
I'll tell you what I liked. I liked when the movie ended, so that my misery was over. That's what I liked.
Oh, you see, I didn't think it was horrible. I think it was just misguided and needed a better story. And again, I think everything stems back to a protagonist that it's impossible to care about.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
I think a similar film to this is his father's Videodrome, similar in certain ways.
Reminded me of that too, although I couldn't quite put my finger on it because I kept thinking Videodrome, but I hadn't seen it in so long. But
a lot of the nasty, fleshy, growing stuff. Visually, it has it, but in there you have James Woods as the main character, and James Woods has a definite point of view. He's got a definite purpose in life, and it's to be sleazy. But he's an interesting kind of sleazy. He's a guy who could have a conversation about being sleazy and just look and not respond to people. Who in the world likes these protagonists who don't respond to people or don't have conversations? You see them in a lot of indie-style movies, and it's just a bad. It means that you, screenwriter, are not confident in writing your dialogue. Get over it.
Yeah, it's the movie gets a 2.5-star rating, and it would be at least 3.5 to 4 stars if you just gave us some reason to want to continue watching the character and care.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Make him interesting. God. You know.
He's a blank spot in the middle.
What's that?
He's a blank spot in the middle of the whole film.
Yeah. I agree with you. A white spot. He's very pasty with a little bit of red in it.
It's easy to do, but it's also hard to do. Kent and I wrote a screenplay together where we kind of had a character that maybe kind of comes off that way. Remember, from In the Arms of Darkness?
Yeah.
And he probably did come off that way to people. We're like, oh yeah, we forgot to make him sort of likable or interesting. Mm-hmm. But you can do it with a few scenes.
No, our screenplay had other characters who were. So
yeah.
So if I did that again, I was probably stuck in the same sort of mindset at the time. That was like 8 years ago we wrote that. Of Brandon Cronenberg, where he's thinking, well, this character's got to be intense and he has to, kind of have a hard shell. And that's not that interesting.
No.
Well, I think the best term.
Not by itself.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel like he's trying, and maybe because he does have some talent. I agree with you, Kent. He does have a good eye, but it's still underdeveloped. I think is the best word for it, or like sophomoric, where he has all these skills, but he's not able to put it all together yet. So maybe future movies will be better, but until he can develop his characters and really, create a narrative from beginning to end and have some purpose and meaning and develop his characters, I don't think he's going to get very far.
I think if you look at his dad's early movies, after his experimental stuff, and I'm a pretentious movie snob, but filmmakers, the experiment is over. It failed.
Yeah.
Narrative. That's what cinema's for.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's I'm going to do an hour of this thing in this kind of institute where you don't know what's going on. No, I want to know what's going on, and give me some cute ladies who do things too. God damn. Anyhow, his dad's early narrative films they had a lot of problems. He did not really learn how to direct actors until probably around Dead Zone. So a lot of the movies before then, the acting, but there's always a story and a whole lot of interesting ideas. And a Cronenberg movie would seem like nobody else's.
Mm-hmm.
He made one movie called Rabid, which had a woman get a sort of like penis vampire in her armpit that created a zombie invasion. Or the Brood, which was what David Cronenberg called that his Kramer versus Kramer, where this woman who went to some sort of psychological retreat created these little monsters that she gestated outside of her body, then that would go and kill the people who she believed were responsible for her psychological problems. That's weird as all get out, and it doesn't seem like anyone else's. This movie seems like a guy who's seen a lot of Cronenberg movies, and I'm going to make one too.
Yeah.
Weird for the sake of being weird.
Yeah, and the thing with Cronenberg is you could say his stuff is all weird, but he also has real normal human obsessions. He loves cars. He made a racing car movie in the early 80s called Fast Company. And it's as weird as any. There's this weird sex scene where a guy pours motor oil over a couple of girls. It's just kind of odd, but
I don't understand what's weird. I don't understand what's weird about that.
Well, it's a lot of motor oil, and it's
a lot of motor oil.
Yeah, not just a little. But
it's
all that. Those movies feel like they're from a complex personality. This movie feels like it's a guy who wants to make something creepy.
Yeah, there's some arrogance to it as well. I'm David Cronenberg's son, and this is my art. But again, like I said, he has to kind of develop his own voice and his own style. And yeah, maybe that'll come. I mean, I don't know.
And it's not funny either. It could have been funny.
Oh God, it was just torture from beginning.
Yeah, I don't think there was one laugh in there. Was there any laughs in there? No. Wow. Not even.
Even the scene where he was working for that guy, and then they ambushed him, and then they took like a sample of the rash and all of that. It was just so extreme. It was so extreme. And then he went back to them, and then there was that Derek guy, or David, the guy that was his competitor, I guess, at the company he worked at, and like that guy just kind of floated in and out. Like, I thought that was the bad guy, and maybe that was supposed to be some kind of like a red herring, but I mean, none of it was established or set up properly. Yeah. So
yeah, this movie has a lot of mistakes.
Yeah, basically it needed to have someone who, I mean, I don't know what the budget was, but it seemed like you probably could have afforded somebody to go through and go, red pen, no.
Yeah.
You know, like you're like we say, your midpoint is halfway through the third act. No, like which Ken said, you know, that kind of thing.
And he could have had a lot of the same content and just rearranged it and created some momentum.
Yeah.
But the movie is inert.
Malcolm McDowell was wasted on this. Obviously, he's friends with the dad, so he did him a favor to be in that. That's fantastic. There were even a couple of.
Well, I don't think Malcolm McDowell's very expensive. He's been in a lot of very cheap things. Though,
but still, can you get Malcolm in your movie?
If I had $5,000,
well, I didn't want to spoil. I didn't want to spoil the surprise. But Malcolm, come over here.
No, I've heard it from our friend Derek that some folks, like Lance Henriksen, if you have $5,000, you can get him for a couple days.
Birthday parties? Can you do like my daughter's birthday party?
If the check clears, I bet.
That would be cool. Like my daughter, they get inside the bounce house and there's like Lance Henriksen from Alien, like put like his head. No, that was the other guy, but he's the android, right?
Yeah, I don't think you get Ian Holm for that. Yeah.
Ian Holm, no, but yeah, what's his name? Anyway, we're now going over our 30 minutes, I think.
Okay, yeah, we were going to do a quick show because Kimmy's a whiner.
I'm tired and cranky.
That was unkind, Connor.
That was.
And thanks to the professionalism and the astute sort of sense that we got to get things together, we don't know what we're doing next week. That was a jab at everyone but me.
Yeah, I have no idea what we're going to
watch. So yeah, but it's going to be something on Netflix Instant Watch. It's going to be next week, Wednesday or Thursday, though. Whenever Dave gets the podcast up, I don't know, but the video will be available pretty quick after we're done with it, right, Dave?
Usually, yeah. I'm not sure about tonight, but yeah, within.
Yeah, sure, yeah. Okay, great.
So precise. Okay.
And
So,
I don't care to go into this. I don't care to really talk about the ending because even if we sorted it out, it's no big deal. Who cares?
Oh, it's
yeah,
disgusting.
it's gross, but it doesn't seem to mean a whole lot because the actress, or she's not an actress, she's just a celebrity, which is okay.
Yeah.
But the character doesn't do anything or say anything or mean anything.
She never did.
She's just pretty.
Yeah, I think it just maybe demonstrated that the protagonist was indeed just like all the people that he actually did worship her too, like a goddess or something.
But who cares?
But right, who cares? We don't care. So.
Yeah, it could mean that. It's ambiguous in the sense that it doesn't take a stand.
No.
All right, okay, yeah, we're finished. This was not a great movie. I think he'll be able to make good movies.
Yeah. Yes,
Especially
if
he listens to this podcast and heeds our words, he will make a better movie next time.
Nah, all the stuff about him being just like his dad would get him defensive. So yeah.
No, he wouldn't listen to this. I wouldn't blame him for not listening to this. Maybe it's
not comedy next to rebel, or maybe he should just hire a writer.
Yeah. Did he write this movie? I didn't know.
He wrote and directed it.
Yeah. No, you can't give the kid the keys to the candy store like that when your dad owns the candy store too. Yeah. You can't do that. You're gonna fuck it up.
I think those are
kind of fucked it up.
Wise words to end with.
Yeah, we put our weight on that one, I think. So we'll be back next week with something that I'm going to choose. Maybe I'll make a web posting on it. I'll just say what it is if I choose.
Try and find something even more unpleasant.
Please find something pleasant.
Yeah, maybe like
kind of cleanse our palate from this.
Maybe Martyrs or a Serbian movie.
Maybe I'll do a comedy. I'll look for a comedy.
I hate comedies.
I want a comedy.
I hate laughing. I hate enjoyment. All right, ladies and gentlemen, good night.
All right, good night, everybody. Thank you.
Thank you for listening.